Talent can build a team, money can fuel a dynasty, but at Manchester United, neither has been enough. Because this club's greatest enemy has never been Liverpool, City, or even the Premier League itself. United's greatest enemy is United. For more than a decade, the club has lived inside a contradiction, a global brand worth billions, and a football team that can't control a simple midfield, a stadium visited by royalty, influencers and sponsors, but held together by leaking roofs and nostalgia, a fan base demanding power and progress, and owners demanding profit and stability. When Sir Alex Ferguson retired, United didn't just lose a manager, they lost the architect of their identity, the only person capable of holding a fragile system together. What followed wasn't a transition, it was a power vacuum. Coaches came and went, philosophies clashed, egos grew, and executives treated football decisions like marketing strategies. And as the world asked, why does Manchester United keep failing? The real answer was already inside the club, a structure built on legacy, not logic, a vision built on history, not reality, and a leadership trapped between football and business. Before exploring how these hidden fractures shaped years of chaos and misguided decisions, you can support the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing the video. Thank you. To understand why Manchester United kept sinking deeper into its own shadow, you have to leave the pitch and step into the boardrooms, the place where the club's identity was quietly rewritten. After Ferguson, United didn't search for a visionary or a strategist. They searched for stability, and in the process handed football's most delicate decisions to people who viewed the sport as a global product line. The result was predictable. Every hire, every signing, every structural choice became a negotiation between sporting logic and commercial appetite. And commercial appetite always won. Transfers stopped being answers to tactical problems. They became branding opportunities. A midfielder wasn't signed to control games. He was signed to sell shirts in new markets. A winger wasn't bought for a system, he was bought for a social media announcement. Even managers arrived, not because their football matched the squad, but because their image matched the club's marketing campaigns. Meanwhile, the footballing world evolved without waiting. City crafted an identity from the academy to the first team. Liverpool built a data-driven ecosystem that understood value better than anyone. Even Spurs modernized their internal structure. United, however, clung to nostalgia like a safety blanket, convinced that United DNA could replace actual planning. And this is where the deeper crisis revealed itself. A club too rich to collapse completely, yet too directionless to rise again. A team fighting new battles with old weapons. An institution that mistook branding for identity and paid the price one season at a time. The real collapse of Manchester United didn't happen on the pitch. It happened in the moments when no one was watching, during meetings where footballing voices were outnumbered by financial ones. As other elite clubs built streamlined structures with clear chains of command, United created a maze. Scouts reported to different departments, analysts had limited influence, managers requested profiles, and received the closest marketable alternative. Every decision had two authors, the football side and the commercial side, and they rarely agreed. This confusion shaped every season. United built squads like puzzles missing half their pieces. A possession manager would arrive to work with players built for counterattacks. A pragmatic coach would inherit ball-dominant midfielders. Systems changed faster than the squad could adapt, and each new era began by undoing the last one. Instead of long-term planning, United lived in cycles of reaction. Sack, spend, hope, repeat. And beneath it all was a deeper psychological issue. Fear. Fear of missing out on big signings. Fear of losing commercial momentum. Fear of admitting the club needed a full reset rather than another expensive patch. That fear turned the club into what it is today, a giant permanently stuck between rebuilding and pretending everything is fine. By the time rival clubs saw United as vulnerable, the damage was already entrenched. United wasn't just losing matches, it was losing years, and more importantly, losing clarity about what modern football demanded. As the seasons passed, the cracks became too large to hide behind nostalgia or branding. Every new manager arrived as a savior, yet each one walked into the same impossible reality. A club without a unified footballing spine. Some tried to impose discipline, others tried to impose freedom, but all of them collided with a structure that shifted beneath their feet. At United, no idea lasted long enough to become a philosophy, and players felt it first. A squad built from mismatched eras carried the weight of constant upheaval. Veterans who thrived under strict systems were suddenly asked to play expansive football. Young players developed under one vision only to be reshaped by the next. Without stability, confidence evaporated. United didn't just lose games, it lost belief, cohesion, and purpose. Yet, ironically, this chaos rarely showed in the financial reports. The club kept generating record revenue, selling out global tours, and renewing massive sponsorship deals. As long as the brand thrived, the urgency to fix footballing flaws was softened. Success off the pitch became a cushion against failure on it. Where other clubs felt pressure to evolve, United felt permission to delay. Meanwhile, rivals built continuity. They hired directors who aligned with managers. They invested in systems, not moments. United, however, kept chasing the next big decision, treating each season like a standalone project. And with every short-term fix, the long-term vision slipped further away. By now the pattern was clear, a club fighting modern football while still living in its past. But the most damaging force inside Manchester United wasn't confusion, it was contradiction. The club constantly demanded elite results while refusing to build the elite structures required to achieve them. Managers were asked to deliver modern football with outdated tools. Players were judged by standards the club itself no longer lived up to. And every summer, the cycle repeated: lofty promises, dramatic signings, ambitious slogans, followed by the same tactical and organizational paralysis. Meanwhile, the world kept moving. Clubs with less history, less money, and fewer stars built identities stronger than United's. They didn't fear evolution. United did, because evolution required admitting the past was no longer enough. The truth was now undeniable. United wasn't failing because it lacked talent or resources. It was failing because it lacked alignment, courage, and a plan worthy of its own name. What made United's situation even more painful was the illusion of progress. Every few months a new headline promised revival, a world-class signing, a fresh tactical vision, a promising academy talent, a new executive with bold ideas. And for a moment, it felt real. For a moment, fans believed the tide was finally turning, but illusions collapse quickly when the foundation beneath them is unstable. Each new plan eventually met the same fate: resistance from the structure above it. Managers who demanded authority clashed with executives who feared losing control. Analysts who offered modern solutions were overshadowed by commercial priorities. Recruitment departments identified long-term profiles, only to watch the club pursue the biggest name available instead. It wasn't incompetence, it was fragmentation. This fragmentation shaped every layer of the club. Promising players plateaued. Veterans became frustrated. Coaches felt their influence diluted, and supporters, caught between hope and heartbreak, were left to interpret cycles that never produced consistency. Meanwhile, the rest of the football world viewed United differently than it viewed other struggling giants. When a smaller club fails, the narrative is about resources. When United fails, the narrative is about identity. Because United isn't just another club, it's an institution expected to lead, not chase. And that expectation became its own burden. United tried to act like a super club while functioning like a committee. It tried to compete with modern giants while operating with outdated principles. It wanted dominance without transformation, results without reconstruction. In the end, this contradiction didn't just slow United down, it defined them, a club waiting for success to return while doing little to create it. As the years unfolded, the consequences of this fractured identity became impossible to ignore. United's most expensive squads lacked chemistry, its brightest talents lacked direction, and its most experienced leaders lacked conviction. Every match felt like a reflection of something deeper, not just tactical flaws but institutional exhaustion. The club wasn't losing because opponents were superior, it was losing because United had stopped understanding what it wanted to be. Inside Old Trafford, the atmosphere shifted too. What once felt like a cathedral of inevitability became a theater of uncertainty. Fans still filled the stands, but their faith carried an edge of frustration. They weren't just watching defeats, they were watching confusion. A team that changed personality every season, every manager, every crisis. United didn't have one identity anymore. It had many, and none of them lasted long enough to matter. The players sensed it as well. Some hid from responsibility, others tried to carry the weight alone. But without a shared philosophy, leadership became impossible. You cannot lead a team that does not know what it is. Meanwhile, rival clubs studied United not with fear, but with curiosity. How could a club with such history, wealth, and global influence be so unsure of itself? The answer echoed across every department. Without alignment, talent becomes inconsistent. Without structure, investment becomes waste. Without vision, even success becomes temporary. By this stage, the truth was no longer whispered, it was accepted. Manchester United's decline wasn't a dip in form or a bad run of matches. It was the natural outcome of a decade spent searching for shortcuts instead of solutions. And so, after years of confusion, contradiction, and costly reinvention, Manchester United stands not as a fallen giant, but as a conflicted one. A club torn between what it used to be and what it refuses to become. United still has the money, the stadium, the global reach, the academy, and the fan base to rise again, but ingredients without a recipe cannot create anything. And at United, the recipe has changed so many times that no one remembers the original flavor. What the club truly needs is not another superstar signing, another sudden reset, or another manager asked to fix what the structure continues to break. It needs clarity, a single identity shared from the boardroom to the pitch, a philosophy not built on nostalgia, but on courage, because until United chooses what it wants to be, it will continue drifting between eras, forever searching for the version of itself that once dominated the world. Yet despite everything, hope still lives at Old Trafford. Hope that one day the noise will quiet, the structure will stabilize, and the club will finally rebuild on truth rather than memory. Because when Manchester United eventually finds alignment, discipline and vision, the rest of the football world will feel it immediately. But the question remains, who will lead that transformation? And when will the club finally accept the rebuild it has avoided for more than a decade? Subscribe, like, and tell me, what do you think Manchester United must fix first to finally rise again?